We all need inspiration now. We will look at how to live your life and love your life. Hi everyone, welcome to the Halimah Show, and today is our first episode. So thank you so much for joining us, and we have an amazing guest today. I'm so excited to introduce you to her. She has been in the industry for at least 24 years. She's got a wealth of knowledge, and not only has she been in this beauty industry, she has then gone on to fight cancer and build an amazing life. Let me introduce you to the amazing Zainab Mirza. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Welcome, Islam. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for coming. I'm really happy that you're our first guest.
Honestly, I'm so honoured. I'm so humbled. Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much. So tell us, Zainab, we haven't got so long, so just talk us through. The first thing I'd like to ask you is, what got you into the makeup world? I think that's always interesting to people.
I think for me it was ever since I could remember, sort of 10, 11, I was really fascinated by makeup, by my mum's makeup, and I remember my brother got married when I was 11, and when my sister-in-law came into the house, there was no one to do her makeup, so I was like, yeah, I'll do it, and at 11 I remember sort of just grabbing all my mum's makeup, and you didn't have makeup artists back then or anything, it was your cousins, your sisters, stuff like that, and I think I got into it just sort of purely by chance, the excitement of, yes, I want to do it, and sort of going through my teenage years, I was the girl in the bathroom doing all her friends' makeup, and I think I got to, sort of after my GCSEs, I realised that, I didn't want to go to uni, I didn't want to do anything, I wanted to go to beauty school.
Oh, okay.
So I knew, from I think when I was about 16, that this is what I wanted to do.
Did you know you wanted to do bridal specifically, or just any makeup?
Makeup was the fascination, but back then, makeup schools weren't popular at all, so beauty was the route into makeup, so it was a part of beauty therapy. So I trained as a beauty therapist, and then sort of went on and did massage and all the kind of aromatherapy, all the therapies that go alongside beauty, but makeup was sort of where I wanted to be, and then I sort of started working with sort of like makeup brands in London, in the department stores, getting training.
What was the most exciting brand you worked with?
I think for me it was Chanel.
Okay.
But also I have to say, when MAC launched in the UK in Harvey Nichols, I worked on that launch campaign. Okay. And that's when I sort of discovered what trendy makeup was, because before it was all classic. Lancome, Chanel, YSL.
This is creative.
Then MAC came in and it really appealed to my creative juices. So just that whole, even seeing it from a makeup artist point of view, how makeup changed from being very posh, very kind of, expensive, glamorous.
Because I remember when I, because obviously I'm a makeup artist, I've done it for how long, but when I first joined, I saw your products on one of the wedding exhibitions. We're looking at maybe 12, 14 years ago. And it was Provoke Cosmetics, wasn't it?
Yes,
and people were like, oh yeah, that's really big, that's really big. But it was, I remember your campaigns were quite bright.
Do you know, we always wanted, my makeup brand came sort of 10 years after I started as a makeup artist, and it was born out of this kind of need of, there still wasn't stuff that Asian, Arab, like my clients were still struggling, even with MAC, they were a brilliant brand, but there were still things that were missing, and just one day I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do this.
So good,
and to be able to compete with mainstream, my campaigns had to be edgy.
Edgy.
They were a little bit provocative, but it was the idea. Yeah, exactly. And the idea was to get people talking. And if we were going to compete on that kind of international arena, we had to make sure that we stood up to it.
So it worked. So I still remember it. That was when I first started. That's amazing. And then obviously you've progressed from makeup into doing further things. You've written books, you've met so many people. So I've got quite a few questions. What's been the driving factor that made you decide, you're not just going to be the run-of-the-mill makeup artist that everybody else is? What do you think made you stood out? What was the reason that made you stand out, and what actually made you stand out?
Do you know, I think with me it was, I've always had tunnel vision, so for me it's like my eye is just on my goal. I am just focused. I don't I don't look left, I don't look right, I don't know who else is doing what. I've never even been consumed by it. For me, I wanted to reach for the stars. And I had a bit of a sort of like an underlying mission, because when I got into beauty, my parents faced a lot of criticism because everyone around me was going to university and they were like, oh, okay, so your daughter's a hairdresser, you know, and so it was this kind of beautician, and it was like an insult from my parents, you know, and suddenly, you know, I kind of got into makeup, and then because I was quite young compared to all the makeup artists that were around at the time, you know, I started getting like magazine work, I started getting newspaper sort of columns and things like that, and I think I sort of quite early on realised that I can really do something with this. So I just always, you know, once I became a makeup artist, I wanted a brand. You know, once I created a brand, you know, it was like I wanted a school. You know, and it's just, I've always just wanted to do one better than what I've already done.
Do you think part of that is because of your parents' sort of cynicism towards the makeup industry?
Well, I think so. My dad didn't talk to me for like 3 months, I think it was, when I joined beauty. But after that, he became my biggest fan. Every campaign, every business card, every article.
That's important.
He had a folder of all my stuff, you know, and it was, and I remember him kind of going, that's my daughter, you know, and, you know, mashallah, it was really nice to see that I'd made them proud in a field that wasn't acceptable.
Just an Asian industry.
And then suddenly I started getting relatives calling me to say, my daughter doesn't want to go to university, or she doesn't want to go to college, she wants to do beauty. Can you recommend where she should go? And we're not sure, you know, and it became acceptable. And it was amazing, you know, to be able to have brought about some change. And trust, it's not actually a dirty, seedy, dumb profession, because you actually have to study quite a lot. There's a lot of studying that people don't realise. And I think, you know, one thing I remember, an uncle had come over from Pakistan and his daughters were studying to be doctors, or were doctors, and I was reading Grey's Anatomy, and he said to me, sorry, aren't you a beautician? And I said, yeah. He said, so why are you reading Grey's Anatomy? So because I need to understand the whole
skin,
body, the skin, you know, and he was so impressed, and he said to me, you know, Beta, I've got so much respect for you today, and you know, it's lovely to see those kind of change of opinions.
Oh, brilliant! I hope more people watch this and learn from that. And then, okay, so you've blossomed and bloomed and been so successful in the beauty industry, but then you've also faced some struggles. I mean, we all do challenges. You maybe a little bit more than others. Would you like to talk to us about what you've then gone on to face and how you fought it? And where you've come?
2013, towards the end of 2013, after sort of quite a while of being unwell, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. So that came as a massive shock, because it was, you know, just not what I expected to be the outcome of what I'd been going through. So that was quite a long, tedious, really, really hard battle, because I was given a grade, a grade 4 diagnosis.
What's grade 4?
So that's basically where they thought it had spread to my other organs. And, you know, I was given this kind of, you know, what 5-year scenario, and you know, it was actually really scary, because I actually thought I was going to die. You know, and at that point my daughter was only 6. So it was quite, you know, sort of quite scary to have been given that. But alhamdulillah, Allah had, you know, different plans, and you know, to what I thought it was, and it was not a misdiagnosis, but actually what they thought had spread was just benign. So I kind of came back from from that, and
that's scary in itself.
It was scary. It was really so that kind of whole journey was about 6 to 8 months. And then I started getting better, and then, you know, a year and a half after that, 2015, I was diagnosed with kidney cancer. So it was like the whole thing coming back, and I think the second time was worse than the first, because the second time I actually did believe I was going to die. Because I was like, there's no way. You know, this is not going to happen. But again, alhamdulillah, you know, sort of came back out of that. And
what did you do work-wise then while you were struggling?
Well, everything, you know, like sold, you know, so the makeup brand. You know, the makeup brand was sold. You know, like there's no way I could carry on with such a stressful, you know, environment. It just wasn't going to happen. So you know, I did sort of try and carry on with what I was doing. But it became harder and harder, and after the second cancer, I struggled a lot with mobility.
Okay.
So it literally
There's no way you could go around
There's
doing
no
makeup
way I
for
could go
people.
back to being a full-time makeup artist.
But so you've done all that. You've been the top of your game. You've fought cancer. What more can you do in life? So where are you now with everything then, Zainab?
So following the cancer, and then, sort of having this thing inside you, which is when
That burning
thing, when you've lived something your entire life, it's really hard to give it up. So I started focusing on like writing, so I was blogging a lot more, I was writing articles a lot more, but then I sort of still wanted to do something, so
in the beauty line.
in the beauty line. So then I sort of and my daughter was growing up as well, and she was sort of getting experimental, and it just started like that, just started sort of making products that she would use, that she could use. Then her friends started asking, and it literally, when I mean an organic business was born out of like an organic idea. So I kind of gave birth to a new baby. So I'm sort of now working on this whole natural clean beauty.
And this is this cosmixology.
Cosmixology, which basically means the science of cosmetics.
Okay.
So now what we do is, we've got a completely clean, organic, non-toxic beauty brand for adults, but our main focus is actually children.
Okay.
So we do a lot of fun products for kids.
Okay.
I mean, really funky, food-inspired.
Because I looked through your Instagram, it was
so a lot of
good.
food-inspired products for kids, and also obviously, our teen range is quite funky. But everything is 100% natural, all clean. So
it's so good.
Thank you so much
for bringing it.
Yeah, so that's our Luxe range. So the Rose Oud is part of our Luxe range in our artisan sort of collection. But
shimmer body oil. That's amazing. We all need a bit of shimmer in our lives. I think everybody needs shimmer in our lives.
Everyone needs shimmer in their lives. So that's what we're doing right now. just staying connected to beauty, but in a much more clean, and natural way.
And I also wanted to touch base on just a quick overview on what your daughter's doing as well.
Yeah, so I think, a friend of mine just recently said, the apple really doesn't fall far from the tree, so thank you, Rook. And I think she's kind of just seen and worked with me over the last few years. Cosmixology, a lot of the teen and children's ideas actually come from her.
Okay.
So she's like, Mummy, we've got to do this. We've got to have a unicorn range. We've got to have Iman. So we've got to have, a mermaid range. So a lot of
that's so cool, because obviously it's teenage range.
It's a teenage range, So, and then sort of last couple of years, she's really wanted to do something, and she does a lot of like, she's really crafty, so a lot of like custom made stuff for herself.
Okay.
And then during lockdown, we just sort of sat down one day and she said, Mummy, I really want to do this. And she started working on creating her own brand, and we launched it last month.
Oh wow. How many teenagers in lockdown have created a whole business? So that's really good, and that's really inspirational, because I think other kids were just eating food and playing games. Thank you so much, Zainab. We've run out of time. But if you could perhaps look into the camera and tell everyone where they can find you and your brand, it'd be really good.
Yeah. So we're on Instagram, on Facebook at Cosmixology UK. So /Cosmixology UK. And if you want to follow my journey, that's at Zainab Mirza.
Thank you so much, Zainab, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've had a fabulous time getting to know Zainab Mirza, and now we go on to the next segment.